Wizzy Wizards, and welcome back to the pursuit of happiness with me, Pigtail Gurl, your friend and fellow wizard. Today, I'd like to have a little discussion with you beautiful souls who actually tune in to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. Any of you who've been here from the beginning with me, again, thank you. About truth, because I think the truth is a very important thing to know. And I often see memes doing the rounds, quoting Dolores Cannon and other people saying that all truth is subjective and there is no absolute truth that we can know. And I disagree with this concept, like absolutely and completely. And I'll explain why. Subjective truth is opinion. It's based on your senses, the information that's brought to you, and how you judge it and how you process it. Now, that is subjective truth. I'm going to have a little cup of tea with you guys. So, yeah, subjective truth is limited to your own opinions and belief. But there is such a thing as absolute truth, and absolute truth is known by the Creator. Now, in our lifetimes, will we all get to know the absolute truth and totality of everything? Probably not. But is that the truth? No, that's my opinion. See, my opinion is not the truth. But will we know parts of absolute truth within our lifetime? As an example, truth about our history, truth about whether there's aliens or not, truth about the shape or size of our planet. Yeah, probably. We probably will get to know these as absolute truths within our lifetime. And I really believe that we are going towards an era of greater truth. And why I was thinking about this today is I saw Laura Eisenhower on her Facebook page feeling uncomfortable with the fact that she'd spoken out her true feelings, and she was worried that this is causing division and not helping the unity. But I think that's nonsense, because the absolute truth will always bring unity. And, you know, if your unity is only kept together by walking on eggshells around everything and not speaking your truth, then is that unity at all? Now, of course, there is an ultimate unity, the cohesion on a quantum level of this universe of all life. But in the physical, ego-based consciousness reality, we don't really have much unity yet because we don't have much truth. And speaking truth, even if it creates a minor division momentarily, is always going to bring us closer to real unity than away from it, because there is no such thing as unity if you can't speak what you see as truth. And, you know, tiptoeing around this whole new age idea that by keeping our mouth shut and being super positive about everything is somehow creating unity, I don't see that as the truth. I don't see that as the truth. I don't see that as unity. That's like being a part of a family where you can't be your true self and you have to walk on eggshells around people to create some illusion of unity. And we call those the people pleasers, right? I've been one in my life because I came from a very dysfunctional family. So I tried to be the peacekeeper, the peacemaker. But I grew out of that and I realized that, you know, I'm not here to create some fake unity where I just hooray everyone when they're speaking nonsense or when I see them as a con person, because I think deception is really what keeps us from unity. And people who try to tell you that there's no absolute truth or real truth, I think that's just gaslighting people into being then susceptible to believing in nonsense. That's what I think. That's my opinion. Anyway, so you notice a lot of the people who say such things like Dolores Cannon, what they really want is to have their truth accepted and for the people who follow it to have like a comeback when anyone disagrees with their truth, you know. Oh, truth is subjective. I'll tell you what's subjective. Someone takes an action. Some people might say, oh, that was good. And some people might say that was bad, right? An action can be good for someone and bad for another person. So the person it's bad for will think that was a bad action. The person it was good for will think that was a good action. Like I'm sure the minions, when they wake up every day and they take their actions that we see as no good, to them, they see them as very good, right? Subjective. Subjective truth is coming from me, I, ego self, and how I perceive from my judgments and my opinions how something seems to me. But ultimately, there is absolute truth. Like there is an absolute truth as to how we were created. There is an absolute truth as to the meaning of life and how the universe was created. And, you know, many, many things have an absolute truth. What is a sun? There's an absolute truth. Do we know it yet? Probably not. Will we ever know? Who knows? I don't know. I don't know is also an absolute truth because I really don't. I just have many things that I believe. And are they the absolute truth? Who knows? Not me. But I don't mind. But what I do like to do, and I've said this before on my channel, is make my meditations focusing on the absolute truth, because the absolute truth takes you into the creator. The creator is the absolute truth. It knows the truth. And if you want to get a glimpse of some deeper truths, you need to A, know it's something you can achieve, and B, know where to go to get it. Because it surely isn't in the alternative media, and it surely isn't in the mainstream media. And again, this is really why I hate the purveyors of the BS. I really, listening to BS is never going to bring us unity, and just trying to keep some fake unity going is not going to take us into unity. And why am I saying this all right now as well is that I really believe this year is going to be a year where we begin to get a glimpse behind the curtain at some truths that's going to ultimately unify us. Because in the last few thousand years, 5,000 years, 6,000 years, whatever, we have really been in a dark age. And what this has done is we've been so flooded with deceptive information, false stories, that it's really taken a toll on our own ability to discern, right? Discernment is not something you're just naturally born with. It's something that's a continual process of refinement to refine your discernment. And I really think that this year, as I've said, I really believe that some truth about star ancestors and the wars that's been going on over planet Earth are going to come to light. And again, this year is my opinion. It might not be factual. Again, this is my intuition that again is probably, you know, prone to believe in what I want to believe through my own filters and my own dogma and my own bias. But at least I recognize that. I recognize that about myself, and I recognize that about everyone else. Another perfect example of this, I'm going to use social media because it's such a great window into people's belief systems and consciousness, is I have a friend on Facebook, and he has many friends that are on the left, but he is starting to get a bit more into the right. And he posted a meme the other day that was quoting Fox News, and someone poo-pooed his meme purely because it was from Fox News. And of course, Fox News can never tell the truth. And when he tried to point out that all media is like that, the person proclaimed that CNN and was it MSBCN? I don't know, because I really don't have a TV and I don't watch any of it. They gave real news. Yeah, they gave real news because the news that person got from those sources confirmed all of their belief systems and bias, right? So it's like your news is fake news, my news is the real news. Now, personally, I take most news with a pinch of salt. I just take it all as opinion, all as bias, all as someone putting their point of view across. You know, obviously real news, when, you know, you can say, okay, this is real news, is this person is caught on video. We can see that they were, you know, assaulting or taking out someone else. And we know that person is not here any longer. And we know that person was seen by 10 people stabbing that person. Then we can say, okay, that's truthful news. But what was the reason behind it? What was the person's motive? Again, maybe we will never fully know unless they're honest enough to just admit it all and come clean, which some people who, lose it and do crazy stuff, they do actually come clean. So, there's some bits of news that you can get out there that's factual, and most of it is just opinion and biased being sold to the masses. And it's a bit like that with the truther scene. Like I always say, it's my opinion that about 95% of it is nonsense. And that's because, well, one, like if you just know a few basics, it makes your discernment process much easier to discern quickly what is BS and what's not. So something that I've been taught and that I've learned is that, as an example, if anyone was involved in a super secret space program, right, you can see the internet is flooded with, I was a super soldier, I was kidnapped to Mars and I was a slave, I was 20 and back again, and this is all the deets. It was all super top secret and all this stuff. If someone's involved in something super top secret, if they went on YouTube and shared that information with you, they would immediately be visited by the men in black and shut down. And if they refused to be shut down nicely, they would be removed. So they wouldn't be able to share it with you, because that is the meaning of top secret. No one in a top secret organization is going to release a load of people so they can do the rounds on YouTube and all the conferences for 5 years, 10 years, because that is not top secret. Top secret is top secret, and people die. And like, even if you look in, our everyday reality, like in the army or in government, there's certain things that's top secret. And if you were to tell people something you weren't allowed to tell them, you are arrested and you are put on trial, or you are locked up, or you are removed. That is what top secret is. So anyone doing the rounds telling you they were involved in something top secret, right away is either a shill, and they're telling you this because it's in the interest of the people in charge that you are led on a false path and believing silly. Two, they're just making it up. So the men in black don't really care. They don't mind. They'll let all the nonsense out because it's not any of the top secret or true information. And they like deception. They're happy to have the internet flooded with it. It's why it's all still there. They don't really mind because it keeps you in the dark, right? So once you know that, then automatically when you see someone doing the rounds telling you they were involved in something super top secret and spilling the beans, either they're suffering from some sort of mental illness, or it's a group that wants them to be telling you that, or they're having some sort of experience and they don't know what it is. So, people can tell you, oh, your experiences are this, and then you'll believe it. It's like when people have, excuse me, when people have some sort of weird spiritual near-death experience and someone says, oh, that means you're a walk-in, right? Because they came back feeling different. Then they'll be like, oh, yeah, I'm a walk-in. Because humans, we don't, unfortunately, many people do not have much true information to go by. So this limits our ability to discern truth. And, I have myself had spiritual experiences that I did not understand in the moment at all. And it's only years later that I can look back and say, oh, that's what that meant. It didn't mean ABC like in the moment I thought. It was something else, right? So my discernment has been growing throughout my life as I train it and hone it. Like any skill, like any sense that we have, your discernment is linked to your mouth. Believe it or not, your gullibility and discernment is linked to your mouth and also linked to your intestines. So interesting, because that's all to do with what you take in, how you digest it, and then the waste product coming out. So it's kind of symbolic that we see the mouth. And people who talk too much nonsense, yeah, it's gullibility. If you believe everything coming out of someone's mouth as well, that's you means you're gullible. So being skeptical is very good. It's actually good to be skeptical. It's good to say, okay, let me look into this a little deeper. I'm not just going to take this on face value. I need some more details on this, or I need some more facts. I need to fact check this myself, not a Facebook fact checker, but me fact checking. And how you become better at fact checking is using common sense and B, meditating and saying, I'm going to connect to the absolute truth. I connect to the absolute truth. The absolute truth will guide me. Anything that is deceptive, any place where I'm wrong, is going to be revealed to me, is going to be revealed to me. Ask and you shall receive. That's something I really believe in. But you have to ask for it to receive it. If you think you know the truth already and you're not willing to question anything, and you just like, oh, my intuition never gets me wrong. Oh, my ability to discern is just amazing, then you're not going to go further. You're not going to open more of the gates, right? So each time we open a gate, there's another gate there that we need to open. So for a lot of people, they open the gate on indoctrination, okay, mainstream media nonsense. That's a great gate you've opened. Then they get to the truther scene and they don't open up any more gates. They just sit there filling themselves with, Bashar or secret space program nonsense, all the false stories that's fed to people, or they become a born again Christian, but they've never really heard the true translations of the book that that they claim to follow. There's many ways that we get stuck. So we open one gate and then we're satisfied. We think, oh, I've discovered everything. But then you think you're opening gates by going down endless rabbit holes that don't actually lead to any truth, because most of them are deceptive and are there to deceive you. So you waste a lot of time getting stuck, hopping from one rabbit hole to another, and it just takes you deeper into darkness. And then there's the next gate. Oh, okay, these rabbit holes are nonsense. Oh, this alternative media has a lot of nonsense in. Okay, let me open up more gates. And then I'm going to open up another gate by accepting that there is truth that I can plug into. So I'm going to start doing that today. I'm going to start making that my daily mission and my daily meditation. And I am going to be an adult about it. And I'm going to do the ouchie work. And I'm going to say to myself, like, oh, pigtails, you were so wrong there. Oh, well done you for realizing it. Correct it. Oh, that there's another place where you were wrong, you were being deceived. That's fair enough. We can all be deceived. We're only human. Correct it. You know what I'm saying? And then you go on and on. A lot of people get a lot of backlash for like speaking out against the con artists, of course, because a lot of people really believe in it. They've given all their power away to a channeler, and they believe they're getting this, oh, it really helped me in my life feeling. But it's like when you take drugs. People who take drugs, they don't want to give it up because they feel like it's giving so much to them. But again, it's false. It's a drug you're relying on. It's not really giving you enlightenment. Like a really good example, actually, the other day I saw a video of, I'm using Bashar because I see him as such a con man. And actually, knowing he was a con man helped me understand Farsight Institute is also dodgy with their remote viewing, because they remote viewed Bashar as a real alien, really communicating through Daryl. But I know that that's just not true. I can say I know that as an absolute truth, that that man is an actor. So if he's an actor and I know that, then I also know Farsight Institute is not correctly remote viewing and they have a agenda. I don't know how it works, but there's definitely, that's not factually true. Everything they view backs up every belief that the Courtney Brown has already, which is very convenient. Imagine being right all the time. Wow. I mean, amazing. But Bashar was in a video clip. You can find it on BitChute or Rumble, where he's asked about the jabber jabber for the and he says, oh, it's not toxic. It's not toxic, he says to the guy. And then you see his eyes sort of moving because he pretends he's an actor and he's thinking now. And the guy starts to ask him another question about it. And then he says, oh, this has been politicized on your planet, so we cannot comment further on it. It's been politicized. And yet, in another video, Bashar was saying to everyone, disclosure won't happen unless Kamala Harris is elected. I mean, this is what I mean. He's tuning in to the nonsense deceptive energy. He's encouraging the nonsense deceptive energy because he is deceptive. And you have to scrutinize these people and not forget the nonsense that they've pushed on you. And to think that any intelligent life form is really going to come through to you as a channeler, being channeled by a person who does shows that he sells tickets through, that to me just stinks to high heaven of bullshit, right? And it's like the more bullshit you see through, the better your discernment becomes. And then you can very quickly start feeling the frequency of the bullshit more quickly. I'm not saying, I'm certainly not perfect. I'm not saying I have perfect discernment, but I've definitely improved my discernment. I've opened up gates that's allowed me to attract more factual information to me. And like I say, people that I really enjoy to listen to is very small nowadays. I'm going to have a sip of my tea. It's very small. I have a very small circle of information. I like to listen to Cliff High, and I know a lot of his stuff is opinion. He's not going to be right on everything. He has his own filters, but he admits that. I like to listen to Cliff, and God bless him. I'm very sorry about the loss of his wife. It's very hard to go through. So I like Cliff High. I like Starfire Tour, obviously. I often quote her because she is just a whole barrel of truth, that woman. And she hasn't got rich because she's not a bullshitter. She didn't make loads of money from it. In fact, she's in financial hardship right now. And she's doing a GoFundMe to save her from losing her house. And she has been hiding herself and undercover for a very, very long time. And the only reason she's now speaking out is because, one, she feels the truth is about to come out. And two, everyone involved in her creation is long gone, like long gone. There's no humans still alive today that were involved with the hybrid program because all those humans are dead. She's very ancient. That's a long time ago she was created. So I definitely believe her stories. I've tested out her truth. I've reversed her speech even, always comes back clean. Another one, David Oates, because he taught me reverse speech. I've done that on myself. It works. I have found definite reversals on myself, on Starfire Tour, on other people that I've sat as a sound engineer myself. It's easy for me to do reverse speech, and I've found reversals myself, and they're very clear. Like, it's quite obvious. How you interpret it, now that's subjective, right? We don't actually even know fully what it is, where it comes from, why it's there. And it seems that some of it is unconscious fears, belief systems that the person holds, not necessarily they're telling you actual truth, but it's something that they worry about or that they believe, or it's telling you something about their truth within. So it's David Oates. Then I like Mauro Biglino and Paul Wallace for the true translations of the ancient text. And again, it's like they can translate it and tell you the exact meanings of the words. But A, does that mean everything that was written down is absolute truth? Who knows? Does it mean that you have to follow their religions? Again, up to you. But to me, if I'm going to listen to anything or read a book, I need to know what it is I'm listening to or reading. So I very much appreciate those guys because they're scholars and they really look into stuff. And when it comes to what truth I want to get to, there's that. And then I also myself like to read ancient text in all the different languages that have been translated to give a broader understanding of where all these ancient texts came from and what they were talking about. So for me personally, that's where I go when I'm sitting around at home and I want to listen to something. I mean, that's it. Or I go to listen to a real expert who might talk about health, who might talk about what's going on in the world today, and I like to listen to different people talking about, up to date events. But again, that to you have to go where you want to go for that information. Where I go for my information, someone else might not trust it. Oh, I've got pins and needles in my foot. I've got my slippers on. Got my slippers on. I've got pins and needles because I've been resting on my foot. Yeah, so absolute truth exists. There is an absolute truth. Will we ever know it in our earthly bodies? Perhaps not, because I also believe, and I would say this is an absolute truth, that we are limited. I also had a sort of slight discussion with someone on Facebook about how humans are limited and whether or not we want to believe that we are limitless. Ultimately, we can see that we do have limits. As an example, I cannot go under the ocean and live like a fish without any apparatus and just turn myself into a fish and breathe underwater. That's not a possibility. And this guy argued with me. He said, oh, well, you need to come and do my course in manifestation. I can manifest any amount of money. And he believed that meant limitless, that he could manifest some money. That is not being limitless. Being limitless, I mean, that's even a limit on your idea of limitless. Manifesting money. Can you manifest a world where we no longer need money? Can you go off and float through space and fly off to another planet without a spacecraft? Can you transform your body into a panther? Can you teleport to me now? No, the answer's no. To most of those questions, the answer's going to be no. So we came into the physical form to experience limits. We didn't come into the physical form to experience limitlessness. It's like we need this experience of limits to then perhaps appreciate when we do live in a more limitless form, or to help us understand certain truths. So again, I can say that there is a truth about being in the physical, that there are limits. And even if someone could live for 3,000 years, right, manifest money when they want to, cure themselves of an illness and bilocate, that is still a limited experience. It's still not limitless. The creator is limitless. The creator can create without limits. But we are not the creator. We are not the absolute totality of creation. I can only create within my limited perspective of what reality is. So even if I focus and develop some X-Men abilities, I'm still not limitless. And even when you look at the X-Men, they all have specific abilities. Now, yogis, they get specific things, but still they live within limits. There's no yogi that I know of today that I've ever seen or met that's still alive. As an example, they're all still dead. So they still all lived within limits. And, I think the fear of death is behind a lot of people's desire to believe they are limitless. Because I also see a lot of people saying, oh, death is a disease, death isn't natural, blah, blah, blah. But we live in a material realm. This realm is built to decay and to create life, and to decay to create life. It's not really created for you to be an eternal being. Your soul is an eternal being. Your soul, when you leave the material plane, it's not going to die, right? When you're not in your body, death is related to the physical body and is there because who wants to live forever really on this earth plane? If you knew what was on the other side for you, you'd probably be dying to get back there, or like dying to get back there. Get that? It was funny. But it's okay. It's okay to know that we came here to experience limits. And that's why when I make subliminals, some people ask me to make some crazy subliminals, like I've turned into an angel, I'm a twin. People have these fantasies that they would like to achieve, but I don't focus on subliminals like that, because you're not going to transform into an angel. It doesn't matter how long you believe it. You can believe your whole life, but it's not going to happen. The same way if you focus your whole life on you suddenly turning into a horse with wings, it's not going to happen. Doesn't matter if I make a subliminal for it, it's not going to happen. I have not seen one person who listened to a growing angel wing subliminal that actually grew angel wings. Had they done it, they'd be famous by now, flapping around. Someone, excuse me, would have videoed them and they would be all over TikTok. So yeah, I think we can say that those sort of things, we are limited. It doesn't mean we can't evolve, but even evolution of what we jump from one thing to the next is limited, right? We have certain limits here. We came here to experience limits. And I feel like eternity is a very long time, and just floating around all day with no limits, when you're a new soul and you've just been created, I'm not sure what that's teaching you, or whether you might get bored, or whether there's no movement, or how a baby, when it's got everything it needs, it's in the womb, it's nice and cozy. For a lot of them to come out of it, it's very stressful, but they wouldn't be able to live their life and learn and go through experiences had they not gone through the birthing process and come out into the real world. So again, should we fear death? Is death a disease? No, it's not a disease. It's a part of living in the materium. And we need to accept certain things and accept the fact we have limits. And then once you know your limits, you can work within them. You can still imagine and, push boundaries and do what some people would see as impossible, right? We can push our boundaries, but there is going to be a certain limit within the material realm that we can't, pass through. So that's my musings this Sunday. If you would like to work one on one with me for body talk sessions, I'm open. Open season is here. And you can check my description box. I do intuitive tarot, I do body talk sessions, great healing sessions. Again, it's all based on your consciousness. It's not focused on the physical body. It's all based on removing the distortions of communication within the body mind, looking at it as a holistic field of consciousness and subconscious energies. So that's what we do when we do body talk. We work on the consciousness level, removing any energy that doesn't serve us anymore. And that's then the physical body will recover due to the removal of the distortions and the toxins. So I offer that, my darlings. And do check out Subliminal Junkie. Do chuck out. Do check out the Time Chronicles, the podcast with Starfire Tour. And remember to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed this. And yeah, leave me your thoughts in the comments. And I will love you and leave you. And see you on the next episode of The Pursuit of Happiness. One love.